Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of GNN. Today is March 19th, 2025, and we have another banner night on our hands here. But before we get into the details of our brand new mobile suit, let's go over some news. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we do have the GBO Spring Festival in effect right now, which started on the 12th of March and ends in April 9th. Our main event, as people already kind of saw it in the F91 trailer that we got earlier in the month, the Den'an Zon, the very first Crossbone Vanguard Mobile Suit, is finally here as a 3-star. You're also able to pull for their normal suit in a second. We'll get into those details shortly, because it's my birthday tomorrow, so this was definitely not on my bingo card at all. We do have a boosted supply drop for that as well at a discount, so that's also really cool. We do have, coming to the recycle ticket counter, a level 2 version of the Jetta Cannon, so if you wanted to kind of round out your collection, I don't know if this holds up at a higher cost than 550, this is a 550 native support, but it's still pretty solid. You know, any suit's as good as your team, right? We do also have the Jigen, I don't know why I almost said Negan and whatnot, but Jigen D-type bazooka, the level 3 and level 4 in the recycle ticket counter. So normally that's a 500, 550 suit. Looks like the level 3 and level 4 are now coming to the game. Now, some changes to the DP exchange counter as follows. If you don't have this, the level 2 Jigen D-type is now available, as well as our praise be glory, the Pope Doga himself, the Psycho Doga 650 native, if I'm not mistaken, that is now available in the DP store. As far as the Noisy Fairy situation battle, it looks like some of the mobile suits are adjusted across the board. Pixie, Spartan, the GM ground type, which is Barry Allen, not the Flash, but the other BA guy from Noisy Fairy. The Witch Hunt Squadron. Now going into the Noisy Fairy group, yeah, the Alma Sterner is getting, looks like it's a buff in that spec, as well as the Mia Brinkman half cannon and the sniper type, the Helena Hagel, as well as the Damen Zaku 1. So they're not naming specifics. All I can assume is probably HP and some other stuff too. They like to keep things under wraps. So just to kind of reiterate, also, we are currently in a long period of maintenance. So the next clan match that is coming up, I believe, is in April. April 5th is the next one. It's going to be Ace. Ace match 600 cost in the Tropical Desert. It's a 5v5, as well as an evening one. City Ruins, actually. If I'm not really seeing this correctly, but our first evening one with City Ruins, basic match 500 6v6. So that is going to be crazy. This is also, I believe, for the top 100 still for all three of them. So if you haven't gotten the GM shooter, which I'm struggling with right now, this is still your last chance to get that. So with that said, on to our main event. Alright folks, here it is, the Den'an Zon, our 3-star general type actually. Obviously, it's no surprise, this is a suit that's usable in ground and space, and the very first to be developed for the Crossbone Vanguard. So it's very comparable in strength and weight to Gundam alloy. I don't know which variant, pretty sure the lore people can clarify that detail, but instead of the normal visors or mono eye, this one uses a high performance goggle type dual eye sensors, which has its own unique look. It's a very different design compared to a lot of the other stuff that you normally see in Gundam, so very unique. Next generation generator, beam shield as well, so the gimmick and mechanic that we saw with the F90 and F91, essentially the suit has it as well. Now, of course, this also has a beam saber beam gun in its arm, a heavy machine gun with the shot lancer as well, a very distinguishable characteristic of the Crossbone Vanguard. So really cool stuff. and also comes with a unique skill, the level 2 version of the high-speed mobile shooting. This is very similar to the Sanaju skill. In this case, the attacks performed during the skill activation negate the reaction reduction effect of the target's maneuver armor skill, and it can be only activated once per sortie. So the nice thing about it is it's once, and then they're not able to use that again until they respawn. So this is definitely going to be something that will be very much shaking up 650. I don't know how this will affect raids per se. It might reduce the level of maneuver armor they might have. I mean, it could be one full level. It could be just some of the reaction effects that they would have. Timing, hard to say how that gauged on that just by the language alone. But very curious to see how that holds up later down the road. Now, of course, if you are doing 10 pulls, like I mentioned earlier, this is the Crossbone Vanguard Normal Suit, so you do get a chance of getting the actual suit as well as the helmet. So really cool stuff. Without further ado, let's go check out the stats for the new suit. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, here we are with the Den'an Zon here, 650 cost. Now, of course, mine has a little bit of tuning, so there is a little bit of a modification on the beam resistance, but essentially 20 for ballistic, 22 for beam, and a whopping 30 for melee resistance. Definitely plenty of space to work with, considering that is 650 cost, so we do have to adjust accordingly. Now, of course, in terms of the attack power, it does have a slight leaning towards melee strength, but because of the uniqueness of its weapons, it does have some bite at ranges as well. Going into the movement side of things, pretty modest speed of 135. It is on the faster side of things with a high speed movement of 220. Now, the thruster gauge is pretty generous, sitting at 75, and for the cost range, turning speed of 78 definitely will cause a lot of the older suits in the category to have some issues against something as small as this. Now, of course, as with all generals, this is a priority 2 suit. There is no surprise as well to know that the Den'an Zon has a space compatibility. Now, of course, going into the primary, we have the Shot Lancer coming at 2800 power, 3 shots, 350 meters effective range, and an 8-second reload time with 4.5 in between. This, as we mentioned before, ties into that other skill. It also partially nullifies ballistic resistance to deal damage. Alright, looking at its primary melee weapon, we have its unique Beam Saber. 2 seconds in between swings at a 2800 power rating. Pretty substantial for the cost. It's pretty much par, but for something as small as this, it feels like it can definitely pull some weight with that. Dropping down to the sub-weapon category, has its dual beam guns on its left arm there. 350 base power, 9% heat rate, 300 effective meter range, and a 15-second overheat time with a third of a second in between shots. So these come out pretty quick as well. So this is definitely going to be something that's going to be easy for folks to kind of lean in and combo off of. And then tying into the Shot Lancer, it has a heavy machine gun mode, base power 220, 80 rounds in the mag, and an effective range of 250 meters with a 10-second reload time. So this is definitely something, anybody that's running this that happens to get this will definitely be able to lean on both of these sub-weapons to essentially deal damage when possible without, essentially knocking over teammates. You won't have to worry about it because you have options. And of course, the beam shield that the most of the Crossbone Vanguard suits are now running. This one also has the same mechanic as the F90 and 91 that we mentioned before. So this one has a base attack power of 2200. It's able to do just the one parry melee. It has 5000 HP, cooldown time of 2.5 seconds with a 20-second overheat when you do engage to attack or defend. Oops. Oh, sorry, there we go. If the shield is fired upon while it's activated, damage is taken while reduced, using a shield attack to repel. So I believe you have to manually turn this on. So that can obviously determine whether or not if you want the extra damage reduction or not. Then again, they could have it in game where it's already on or not already on, and you have to actually switch it to have that forward facing, kind of like how Perfect Gundam has to run that way. But you know, we'll see, because going into the shopping list of skills, it does have MA1, but fighting against other Den'an Zons, that might be a significant issue, considering the fact that you do have everybody else kind of canceling out your maneuver armor. But that aside, we have Flight Control 4, which is not, you know, not surprising considering the acrobatics that the Crossbone Vanguard suits do in the movie. It has a double roll, fall prevention system, so it's gonna have that weird gliding effect, which is like a blessing curse. Obviously, because it's melee oriented or leaning towards melee, having anti-blast is definitely a plus, and back level 2, so in space it's going to turn a lot more nimbler. 2 swings, aerial melee system, force injector 3 with a good radar of 400 meters. Also comes with frontline support systems, so this is pretty nice to have. The spike tackle, which caught my eye, is the other half of this whole equation, because it increases the tackle power by 120%, and it ignores melee resistance when dealing tackle damage. It also increases tackle damage dealt to toppled enemies. So it almost feels like it's taking cues from the Domal duo away and the regular Domal. So that's going to be pretty nuts. On top of that, it comes with flap boosters level 2. I'm going to be having fun and crying about it all in the same breath, because me and flying in general, just, it was not part of my resume. But in order to do well, I think that's going to be very important to nail down. On top of that, we mentioned the high-speed mobile shooting before. Definitely one time per spawn. So yeah, for a 3-star, this is going to be very much shaking up 650 for sure. And I don't even have the words right now. We'll see. I wouldn't be surprised if they tweak this a little bit towards the end of April, but only time will tell. Alright folks, that concludes tonight's update and the arrival of the Den'an Zon from Gundam F91, the very first Crossbone Vanguard Mobile Suit. Let me know what you guys think about the new edition. I know some of you guys out there have been dying to get it as soon as they saw it on the trailer, and they know it's coming. But I want to know what your thoughts are, your opinions. If you've ran into one, you own one, you fought one, whatever it is, I want to know. Put it in the comments below. Make sure you let me know. I'm very curious. Until next time, guys, that's it. I will see you guys all in the next video. In the meantime, take care and have a good one.